everybody for coming this afternoon. I'll just quickly introduce myself. My name is Michelle Stennett and I'm a solicitor. I've been an immigration solicitor for over 10 years. I've been a solicitor for 22 years, so I've been doing it for a long while. And I work with John and his team to assist applicants who want to come to the UK, either as an investor or as a Tier 1 entrepreneur. Okay. So what we'll be talking about today, the two main routes that we'll be talking about today, will be the entrepreneur route, which, as the name suggests, is for people who wish to come to the UK to set up or run a business. And the other Tier 1 route is for investors, those people who wish to invest a minimum of £2 million in the UK. Right, so with the investor visa, as you would expect, it's for people, non-EU wealthy individuals to make investments in the UK. The good thing about this visa is you can have a main applicant and family members can accompany them. When the initial visa is granted, it's granted for 3 years and 4 months. Now, as that period is coming up to expire, you would then apply to extend it for a further 2 years. So that would then give you a total of 5 years in the UK. And then after 5 years, or just before the 5th year, you would then apply for settlement, which is also indefinite leave to remain, permanent residency, they kind of mean all the same thing. And then a year after that, should you wish to do so, you could apply for a British passport. So you'll be looking at 6 years from start to finish to actually become a British citizen. As I said earlier, I'll just quickly scan through this. You would need to show that you have at least £2 million to invest in the UK. You also need to have a bank account in the UK, and you have to keep that money, the £2 million investment, for the 5 years, because obviously you're in the UK as an investor, so you have to show that you are investing that money. Another thing that you need to be aware of is, with this visa, you can come and go from the UK, but you have to be careful how much time you spend outside of the UK, because that could actually jeopardise any future extension visas that you make or settlements. So you can't be outside of the UK for any more than 180 days in any 12-month period. So that's something that you would need to bear in mind. Okay, so with the entrepreneur visa, as I said earlier, it's for individuals who wish to come to the UK to invest in a business. So what are the requirements? Well, you need to have at least £200,000. That £200,000 is for the investment in the business. That's not living expenses or anything like that. You have to show that you can maintain yourself on top of the £200,000. Also, you need to have a decent knowledge of English, as you'd expect. If you're coming to the UK to run a business, you should be expected to speak a decent level of the English language. So if you have a degree, maybe you went to college in the UK, you would be able to use your degree certificate to prove that your knowledge of English is sufficient. If not, you would do a separate exam. As I said earlier, the £200,000 is solely for investment purposes. You would have to show that you can support your family. And you can see there that you have the living costs, which are £3,310 for the main applicant, and then a further £1,890 thereafter for each dependent. So a dependent would include a spouse and children. Now, the most important thing I would say with any entrepreneur visa application is you have to convince the Home Office that you intend to run a genuine business in the UK and that you're genuine entrepreneurs. And that's where Charles, my colleague, will come in, because you need to have prepared a business plan that is sufficiently robust to convince the Home Office that you are a genuine entrepreneur. Again, I'll just repeat, you need to invest the £200,000. And also, one of the reasons why they're going to give the visa is that you would need to show that you would be employed at least 2 local staff for 12 months. They would need to be employed full-time, and full-time in the UK actually means 30 hours a week. It's not 40 hours or anything like that. So you would need to show that you're employing staff for 12 months. And because you would be the employer, the onus would then be on you to make sure that the people you employ are able to work in the UK. And similar to the investor visa, you need to ensure that you are in the UK for as much time as possible, but you mustn't be out of the UK for more than 180 days, because again, that could jeopardise your extension of this visa or your settlement. So this visa, I don't think it's on the slide there, but this visa as well will be granted for 3 years and 4 months. After that period, you would then apply to extend it for a further 2 years. And after you've been in the UK for the 5 years, you would then be able to apply for settlement. And then a year after, you'd be able to apply for your citizenship. Now, this might be something that concerns many people. I don't know if you've heard, but the Home Office, towards the end of last year, announced that they may be, they say that they will be replacing the Tier 1 entrepreneur route, and they may replace it with what's called an innovator visa. Okay, so that's a statement from the Immigration Minister. You can see here that she says the innovator visa will replace the current Tier 1 entrepreneur route and have a similar emphasis on endorsement by a business sponsor who will assess the applicant's business ideas for innovation, viability and scalability. These reforms will be introduced in the spring. Now, the spring is March, April, May, okay? At the moment, we don't have anything more than this. So this is what we have to go on. I was hoping that by the time I did this seminar, there would be a little bit more information on what we have. It could be one of the reasons why they're thinking of changing from Tier 1 and actually replacing it with the innovator, is because what happens is when you apply for your entrepreneur visa currently, you have to have an interview where the Home Office will try and find out more about your business plan. Now, the Home Office employees, they're not business people, so they're not really best placed to assess whether or not a business is viable, whether it's scalable. So I think that could be one of the reasons why the Home Office perhaps introduced it. So it should hopefully make things fairer. We don't know who these business sponsors are going to be at the moment, so I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. But they're likely to be experts in businesses who can properly assess a business plan, hopefully better than how the Home Office assess business plans. And as I said, we don't know when this is going to happen, so at the moment we know how the Tier 1 entrepreneur visa route works. So if you are interested in entrepreneur visas, I would suggest that you try and put your applications in or start thinking about it as soon as you can, because spring could be 1st of March. We may not get any notice at all from the Home Office. Or it could be at the end of May, or the Home Office could push it back even further. Okay? So I'm going to pass you on now to Charles, my colleague, who will give you a little bit more information about business plans and what they are.
Thank you. Cheers, thank you. Good afternoon. I think I'll start over here and say hello to the people over in this part of the room. Okay, who'd have believed it then? A Tier 1 entrepreneur's visa requires a business plan. Okay? A business visa requires a business plan, and that's the fact it does. Your business plan is critical and the crux of the whole of your application. If your business idea is not good, if it's not viable, if you're not going to be able to show that you're capable of running such a business, then you're not going to get your visa. So it is the essential document. It's not that difficult to produce the document. Everybody knows, I think, essentially what needs to go into a business plan. But if we just stick to P&Ls, cash flows, balance sheets, and a little bit of an explanation about what your business is doing, you're unlikely to get a hearing in immigration that's going to be successful for you. Michelle's just said that the people that are assessing your business idea aren't business people, and that's very true. So what we have to do with the plan is we have to address and touch all the issues that they need to have resolved for them, and we need to make it explicit. There's no point making it, well, maybe like this, maybe like that, and expecting that the immigration officer is going to work out for you what you really mean, and oh yes, that's a viable business, so there you go ahead with it. What we have to do is make it very, very clear. So what I want to do now, apart from saying that if you're working with us, we will do your business plan for you, we work with you to get it produced, we make sure that all the necessary information is in there, and we'll tell you if your idea isn't good enough, isn't suitable for whatever reason, and we'll work with you to develop ideas that will get you a visa. There's a few myths that perhaps are worth dispelling. The first about the £200,000. Yes, you have to invest it in the business, and it has to be spent. By which I mean, if you put £200,000 into your business, and by the end of year 3, your balance sheet has still got £200,000 cash because you haven't applied any of it, that is not a suitable business for T1 purposes. You need to show that having put your £200,000 into the business, having spent on all the things that you need to spend on, your cash flow at some point is going to be down to a couple of £1,000 or so, and then you're starting to pick up and develop and make money, so your cash goes back up. If you don't do that, then you have a business that doesn't need a £200,000 investment, and if it doesn't need a £200,000 investment, it isn't a business that qualifies for a T1 visa. The rest of it, in addition to a normal business plan, is we have to weave in a story that convinces the immigration officer that you're a serious entrepreneur, you have a serious idea for a business, it's a viable business capable of making money, capable of employing and needing to employ a minimum of 2 people, that you are, as an individual, experienced enough and capable enough to run such a business, and perhaps more importantly, why this business needs to be located in the UK in order to be successful. If, for example, your business idea was to sell peanuts over the internet, then there's no particular reason why that business should need to be located in the UK. You can do that business from anywhere in the world. And one of the questions the immigration officer is going to look to have answered is why this business, why the UK, why not America, why not Canada, why not stay in Hong Kong and do it? So we have to explain that in the business plan. And the idea is that if we told the story properly in your plan, you're getting less objection, less questions in interview, and you should be able to use your business plan as the guide to the answers to the questions that you're going to be getting anyway. I think probably that's enough to say about business plans at this point in time. What I'd like to do is hand you over to Howard, who's firstly going to tell you how to pronounce his surname, and then tell you about the UK tax proposition. Howard, over to you.
Good afternoon. So I'm an accountant and tax specialist from London. Once you come to the UK, you've got your visa, I will be there to help you along to comply with all the rules and regulations in the UK. Nothing too complicated, but it's important that when you come to the end of the 3 years, that everything will have been done correctly as we've gone along, and that's why I help the businesses to present the accounts in the correct way, comply with all the rules, do your tax returns. Now, so that's just a quick introduction to what I do, and work closely with John Hugh here, and all the clients that are successful. Now, I'm going to just give you a quick rundown on the tax rates. I do know about tax rates in Europe, and in the UK they are pretty much the lowest insofar as a safe haven. So there are some countries where the tax rates are less, but if you're coming to a safe environment, the UK tax rates are actually very low. The corporation tax rate, which I'll come on to in a minute, is currently 19%. And although that's a little higher than the Hong Kong corporation tax rate, it is actually far lower than most other countries in Europe. It's coming down to 17%. So we now have a situation where you have your company and we will be claiming as many expenses as we can claim that are allowable, and what's left will be taxed at 19% and possibly only 17%. Now, this is a personal tax rate, and this is for the coming year. And it's still quite generous that you can earn £12,500 before you have to pay any tax. So we've now got our company situation, it's paid its corporation tax, and you as individuals might want to take money from your company. We hope you'll make some profits, and these are the sort of rates. Now, we had the same system as Hong Kong, strangely enough, that there was no tax on dividends when you draw money out. This has now changed, but it's being phased in. So at the moment, you can have a dividend of just £2,000 tax-free, and then the tax rate is 7.5% until you reach a certain amount. So the tax rates are still relatively low. That's £12,500 tax-free, £2,000 on top of that for the dividend, and then probably 7.5% depending on how much you draw out from your company. The alternative is to have a salary, and we may look to see a combination of the two. So this is just to give you an idea of how much tax that you might pay in the UK. And there is the rates that I just said. There's some other things that probably won't apply to you for many years, but should you die in the UK, we have something called inheritance tax. Could be relevant to you if you're going to live in the UK for the rest of your life. And so that's inheritance tax. Capital gains tax. If you have, for example, a property and you sell it at a gain, you can have £12,000 tax-free. And then these are different rates according to your income tax situation. Now, for non-residents, and this may not apply to many people here, we are changing the system from next year. Should you make a big gain in the UK, you'll have to declare it within 30 days. I've told you about the corporation. Stamp duty might be more relevant to my colleagues shortly about buying a property in the UK, but these are as an extra tax if you buy a property. Right, so insofar as somebody who's now got their visa, we've got the limited company, what I will hopefully do is help you save tax, and this is the general rules, that it's payable 9 months after the year end. So if you were to get your visa in, say, April of this year, the year end would be March. 12 months is the normal accounting period, and then you have another 9 months before the corporation tax is actually payable. So you get quite a long gap. What expenses can be claimed? Pretty much anything to do with the business, anything that we will identify. Tax on rental income, I'm going to just skate over because I think most people are more interested in the Tier 1 entrepreneur visa. Should you buy a property that you rent out, this would be relevant to you. Now, let's come on to something else. I'm going to skate over that, which is to talk about the tax position when you come from Hong Kong to the UK. And I think that you're going to think of some questions. We're going to go on to the tax planning. So what I've done now, first of all, told you who I am and what we do as a firm of accountants, giving you an overview of the tax rates. we're now just going to touch on some pertinent issues in terms of somebody actually coming to the UK who has income and assets still in Hong Kong. And I think you have a burning question.
Okay, how about we start the Q&A session now then, right? I'll start with let me kick off with 2 questions and we'll open up to the audience, right? So Howard, I think a lot of our clients, as they migrate to the UK, they continue to have passive income in Hong Kong, whether that be receiving rent from Hong Kong properties or continue to run a business in Hong Kong, right? How would that affect them from a global tax perspective once they migrate to the UK?
Okay, so let's start with the rule. The rule is that you have a choice. You can be taxed as a UK resident, same as myself or anybody else from the UK, which means you're taxed on worldwide income, which means you will be taxed on any income arising in Hong Kong, still be taxable in the UK, but you would get a credit under what's known as a double taxation agreement for tax suffered in Hong Kong. So if the tax rate in the UK was 20% and you had paid all the tax here in Hong Kong, you wouldn't actually pay any more tax. The alternative is what's known as the remittance basis, where you are only taxed on what you remit to the UK. So if you had a significant income in Hong Kong and you didn't want to pay tax in the UK, you would opt for the remittance basis, but you would not get the personal allowance of £12,500 that I mentioned previously. So it will depend on the circumstances. Now, in terms of planning, once you become resident, any income arising, as I just said, will be taxed one way or the other. The important thing is to bring to the UK your capital so that the problem of being taxed on Hong Kong income in the past doesn't arise. So let's just say you have £1 million in sterling terms. If you bring that to the UK just before you become resident, there's not going to be a problem. If you start transferring money to the UK after you've got your visa and become resident, you will automatically start to be taxable. And this is a very big issue for a lot of people. In terms of planning, it's important to make sure that what you're bringing to the UK is capital and not income. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Maybe questions from the audience then, right? Okay, 大家有冇問題問Howard？有冇問稅務問題問Howard？
Okay, well, yeah.
What's the inheritance tax rate?
So the inheritance tax applies normally when you die. Again, it raises a very good point about doing a will. You might want to do a will in the UK and one in Hong Kong. So for any client who in the UK who has assets outside of the UK, especially Hong Kong, you're going to do 2 wills. Insofar as the UK, you can have £325,000 free of inheritance tax, and then it's 40%. Generally speaking, a husband will leave all the assets to the wife, or the wife to the husband, and at that stage there is no inheritance tax. So frequently it doesn't arise until the second death. But the most important point is which follows on from the question, is that I would certainly recommend that somebody does a will in the UK, and indeed would do one in Hong Kong if they've still got assets over here, because the laws will be quite separate.
So maybe on that point, Howard, so is Hong Kong assets exempt from UK inheritance tax?
Well, the answer to that one is a little complicated. It's based on what's called domicile. I don't want to confuse people. The UK has a unique rule. It's called domicile, which is different to residency. whether you're taxable on your assets in Hong Kong will depend on what they call domicile. Probably for most people, they will not pay inheritance tax on Hong Kong assets because they probably will not be domiciled in the UK. They'll be resident, but not domiciled.
大家就冇問題，稅務問題。
Okay, well, certainly if anybody, well indeed, for those of you who do proceed with the visa and it's successful, I'll be very happy then to assist you. So you don't need to worry about the UK rules, and we will look to keep your tax liabilities down to a minimum.
Thank you. Thank you. Just going to invite Michelle and Charles and Simon back on the stage for questions about UK. Again, I'll just kick off with a few questions and then give back to the crowd. Right. So, Michelle, one of the slides you had was Home Office, announcing that in spring they may make changes or some reform to the T1 program.
Right.
Do you want to elaborate more on that and how it may affect Hong Kong applicants?
I wish I could elaborate more on it. There hasn't been anything since this announcement back on the 6th of December. There's been lots of talk. If you go on the internet and you look at different firms' blogs as to what could happen, there is that, but there isn't anything definitive from the Home Office. So we don't know if it's going to be, okay, well from the 1st of April this is the new system, or if it's going to be phased in. I think that it, just sort of following on from that slide, I think the thinking behind it seems to be right in terms of assessing the applicant's business plan, because what you don't want is you don't want the Home Office to make a business decision when the Home Office employees aren't business people. So that could help. The only thing that perhaps concerns me with it is in the statement she says something about it being for experienced business people. So at the moment, the Tier 1 entrepreneur visa, you don't have to be an experienced business person. This statement seems to suggest that perhaps you need to have some sort of business experience, so that's a little bit concerning. The other thing that's a bit concerning is actually the word innovator. So are they suggesting that it has to be some new fancy business idea that you come up with? Because there's plenty of people who come to the UK on Tier 1 entrepreneur visas, and their ideas aren't particularly innovative, but they do very well and they make money. And I think the Home Office would be silly to ignore that aspect of people who can just run a good business. So that's a little bit concerning. What do they mean by innovation? But I can't tell you any more than that because we've had nothing. Yeah, there's been nothing since.
Maybe advice here would be to apply
now, yeah, because at least we're confident with what the rules are at the moment. We know what we're dealing with. At the moment, it's, this innovative visa, it's a bit of the unknown. So I would suggest you apply and see that.
Okay, thank you. Question for Charles?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. As you know, a lot of the Hong Kong clients who apply for the T1 entrepreneur visa actually don't have experience in running a business. What's your best advice to those applicants there?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think probably about 50% of the people that have been successful with the T1 visa actually don't have and didn't have any business experience. Now, if you've got a burning desire to have your own business, be your own boss, be in control of your destiny, but you don't have a good business idea and you don't know how to run a good business model, then what do? Well, look around and have a look at some successful businesses that are successful, that are being run well, and copy them. It's fair enough, isn't it? Now, we actually have a franchise business where people can buy a franchise from an individual who set up a business concept, proven it, made it work, and then they offer franchise licenses out for you to repeat it, for you to duplicate it. So my advice would be, if you want to be in control of your own destiny, run your own business, then you have no experience, look at the franchise operations that are available, there are lots of them, Not all of them are going to be suitable for T1 because not all of them are going to need a £200,000 investment. But some do. We have a list of those, quite a reasonable list of them. I'm sure that there's going to be something that will suit you.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, 有住香港老還是Simon。
係啦，呢邊係講。
咁我哋 UK 團隊都即係合作咗超過6年啦，咁都幫過超8個嘅家庭移民去英國。係。咁你一係可唔可以同大家分享翻我哋 onshore service 即係啲續簽啊、PR 少少？
好啊，因為當大家咧攞到個 visa 之後咧，我咧就係負責由第1年到第6年咧，就幫你monitor 呢6年嘅所有嘅申請嘅手續同埋所有文件都係符合到個 visa requirements 嘅。咁我哋嘅onshore service 咧，包括係幫你咧就揾你住嘅附近最好嘅學校啦，state school 啊或者 boarding school 啊，同埋幫你啲 visa 嘅 requirements 咧會同你講，好似話開公司啊，為警察局註冊啊，或者所有嘅即係奇難雜症啊，都會如果有遇到問題咧，我哋都會幫你解答嘅。咁除咗之後咧，我就仲會同Howard 啦、accountant 啦，因為佢咧係呢幾年咧，佢哋都會幫你做啲數咧，我哋一定要提供。即係每個文件咧都要符合到個 home office 嘅要求，我哋一定要睇清楚咧。如果唔係咧，少一樣文件咧，你嘅 extension 咧都會俾人 reject 嘅，因為佢就十分之嚴格而家 home office 做 extension。係啦，咁如果大家有咩問題嘅，可以問我啦。
OK， 咁觀眾有冇啲問題我哋嘉賓嚟？
係。
I have a question for Michelle. I was wondering what kind of impact would Brexit bring to citizens from European Union if they want to open a business or set up a subsidiary in the UK? Do they need a visa from the time Brexit has been effective or not?
I don't know.
Sorry,
Charles speaking.
I can give you some insight into that. It depends on the nature of the exit that we have. And 2.5 years ago, we set down this journey that said we had 3 options: either to leave with no deal, leave with a deal, or don't leave at all. 2.5 years have gone by, and we have 3 options: either to leave with no deal, leave with a deal, or don't leave at all. The issue is still out. If we have the agreed exit that everybody thinks is ultimately what they're going to resolve, then we have what's called the transition period. During that transition period, there will effectively be no change. So people coming from Europe will not need a visa. They will have free movement during that period of time. And the question then is, what happens at the end of the transition period? Nobody knows because it hasn't been agreed. Our illustrious leader says that one of the red lines is that there will be no freedom of movement throughout Europe. 27 other countries within Europe say they have a red line, which is, if there's going to be an agreement, there will be free movement around Europe. So you base your money and take your chances right now. But all I can tell you is that right now, there is no change. If at the end of March we crash out, as they say, and leave without a deal, then it's anyone's guess. If there's no deal, there's no deal, there's no agreement, so presumably there will be no movement of people. So that's the least likely route, I think.
And nobody knows how long the transition period will be.
At the moment, the transition period is set for a maximum, I think, of 21 months, during which time we have to negotiate the nature of the agreement of trade between the various nations. In my opinion, that will be impossible to achieve during that period of time, which is why we have the backstop concerning the Irish border, and why people that want to leave don't like the backstop, because effectively it makes sure that we stay within Europe without any change until such times as we have an agreed negotiated deal that deals with the Northern Irish border. So chances are, I think, at the end of the 21 months, extension to negotiate still further, or we just stick with the fact that we're just never really leaving, or we pretend that we are. Okay.
大家仲有冇問題？仲有冇嘢問題？